The non-identity problem. Imagine a decision that changes the future, not just what happens, but who exists at all. A woman is deciding when to have a child. If she waits a year, she'll be healthier, wealthier, better prepared. Her child will likely have a better life. But if she waits, the child she has won't be the same one. Different egg, different sperm, different person. So now the question, if she has the child now, and that child lives a difficult life, struggling with illness, poverty, or pain, did she do something wrong? That child wouldn't exist if she had waited. And here's the heart of it. Can you harm someone by giving them life if the alternative was never being born at all? This is the non-identity problem posed by philosopher Derek Parfit, a paradox that cuts through ethics, identity, and the very meaning of harm. Because usually we define harm like this. You harm someone when you make them worse off than they would have been otherwise. But in cases like this, there is no otherwise, no alternate version of that person, just existence or nothing. So how can you say they were harmed by being born? And yet, it feels wrong to say it's fine, to say they should be grateful. At least they exist, because now you've built a moral system where any life, no matter how full of suffering, is automatically justified. Just because it happened, it gets darker. Governments, corporations, entire civilizations can defend harmful actions by claiming, well, those future people wouldn't exist without us, so they can't complain. And suddenly, no one is responsible for anything. The non-identity problem reveals a terrifying truth, that if morality depends on comparison, and identity depends on timing, then some actions can be harmful, without harming anyone in particular, because the person who suffers only exists because of the very act that causes their suffering. So now ask yourself, if you create a life knowing it will be filled with pain, but that life would thank you for existing, have you done something good or something unforgivable? And that is the non-identity problem. The sleeping judge paradox. Imagine this. A judge is put to sleep on Sunday night. She's told that at some point in the coming week, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, she'll be woken once to preside over a secret trial, but she won't be told which day it is. And afterward, her memory of the trial will be erased. She'll go back to sleep with no recollection it ever happened. Now here's the twist. She wakes up. She's in the courtroom. She looks around and thinks, it could be Monday. It could be Tuesday. But it can't be Wednesday. Because if I hadn't woken up on Monday or Tuesday, then I'd know for sure today must be Wednesday. And that would break the rule. The judge believes she can rule out Wednesday because it wouldn't be a surprise. But here's the paradox. If she thinks that way, then she'll never expect Wednesday, which means waking her on Wednesday would surprise her. So Wednesday is back in play. But if Wednesday is possible again, then her reasoning collapses, because the very logic she uses to eliminate a day resurrects it. This is the sleeping judge paradox, a twist on the surprise execution and sleeping beauty paradoxes. It plays with self-reference, expectation, and uncertainty. because the more the judge reasons, the less certain she becomes. She tries to deduce the future based on what she won't know, and ends up trapped in a loop. Each time she tries to predict the trial, the prediction itself changes the outcome. It's not about justice. It's not even about sleep. It's about how logic breaks down when it tries to see around its own corners. Just like in quantum physics, where observation changes the observed, here thinking changes what's possible. So the question lingers: if your mind is smart enough to predict the twist, does that twist still surprise you? And if your memory can be erased at will, how would you ever know what's already happened? Maybe the judge has already ruled. Maybe you have too, but you've just forgotten. And that is the sleeping judge paradox. Skolem's paradox. Imagine building a system that can describe everything in mathematics: numbers, sets, infinities, logic itself. This is what set theory tries to do. A complete foundation, precise, formal, absolute. And then something cracks. It starts with a theorem, Skolem. It says that any consistent set of statements in first-order logic, even ones that describe infinite sets, has a model that can be built using only countable elements. And that sounds harmless until you apply it to set theory itself, because set theory talks about things like the set of all real numbers, the power set of natural numbers, infinite sets that are uncountable by definition. But here's the paradox. If set theory can be modeled in a countable domain, then even the sets it claims are uncountable exist inside a countable model. That means inside the model we can talk about uncountable sets, but the model itself is still countable from the outside. It's like a world where people believe the ocean is infinite, and inside that world their maps and measurements agree. But from above, you can see the whole thing fits inside a bottle. That's Skolem's paradox. A contradiction that's not quite a contradiction, because both things are technically true. Inside the model, uncountable sets exist. Outside the model, everything is countable. So who's right? It reveals a disturbing truth about mathematical truth, that even the most rigorous formal systems are vulnerable to perspective, that uncountable might not mean what we think it means, that infinity might be smaller than it looks. It's not just about numbers. It's about the limits of formalism, the fact that any system powerful enough to describe the infinite will also contain models that secretly make it finite. The deeper you go, the more the walls close in. So now ask yourself, if a world can exist that believes in uncountable infinities, while secretly being countable itself, what does that say about our world? About our truths? About the boundaries we don't even know we're inside? And that is Skolem's paradox.